When you talk about qualifying relationships, I think the first thing that we always talk about, Mikali, is you must know yourself before you come into the relationship.
That's true.
Then, having known yourself and understanding your core values, it becomes then easier to understand the filter by which you will let people into your life.
Okay.
Many times, many of us make that mistake of getting into situations that we shouldn't even have gotten into the first place because we didn't take time to understand ourselves. We didn't take time to understand our beliefs. We didn't take time to understand our values. We didn't take time to understand our perceptions and why they were formed in the first place.
Yes.
And a lot of these things come from, one, our childhood. But like we said last time, you can always correct the things that happened in your past and then you take a clean slate and begin to write your future based on the understanding of who you are now.
Yes.
Granted, you may not be able to change all the experiences that you've gone through, but you can learn from them and become a better version of Mikali. Meaning that as you become the better version of Mikali, then you have a better chance of then dictating what happens in your life.
Yes.
And that's a conversation we must have so that then we stop ourselves from getting into situations we shouldn't have gotten into in the first place.
So it's sort of like putting all these things on a scale and being like, so this is what this particular relationship means to me.
Yes.
This is what this means to me. That means this I will tolerate, this not so much.
Yes.
Yes.
Or this I won't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that necessarily we have to stop or end relationships on a bad note. It means that I can be cordial with you, but I just know I can't allow you so far because our beliefs, our values, our perceptions do not align.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you approach a relationship from that perspective, Mikali, it's a place of empowerment.
So if I am not, you see, most of the times and it's a thing that Zulu, I think, says a lot. We're just checking these things out.
Yes.
We want to see how this goes.
Yes.
And in that seeing where it goes, you have not defined where you want it to go, what direction you want it to go, what do they believe in, what are they about, are they aligned to the things that I believe in, the things that I want. So when that doesn't happen at the beginning, then you're sort of like setting up yourself for more fights in future because itakuwa how kuniambia mimi ningejuaje, but you had an opportunity to talk about these things. But I also like something that you say, Judy, that I can't have that conversation if I'm not having it with myself first.
With yourself first. Especially many times for women. That's
for women.
Yeah, for women. Most of the time we don't interrogate these things. We find ourselves in those situations. Then now you start saying, you become a victim. You understand? But if you really do take time to know yourself, before you even, when you know yourself, you'll stop yourself from going to check out things.
That's true.
But when you don't know yourself, every telephone call is equal to a date.
Shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
If you really know yourself, you understand.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah. I mean,
it makes things easier.
It makes things easier. And then you stop constipating on cups of coffee. Let me tell you, Mikali, once you know yourself really well, hey, you don't need 3 cups of constipating on cups of coffee because
you've been having too many of those.
You're having too many coffees out there. You understand? You don't even know when to stop. You don't even understand the value system. Let me tell you, and that's why the older you get, you don't need 2 cups of coffee, 2 dates to know whether this thing is going somewhere or not. It's because you learn how to evaluate yourself. And it's an important conversation for us to come and empower the younger women especially.
Yes.
And maybe even the men will benefit from this conversation.
And even where these dates are happening, like even from phone conversation, you need to know if this one I will sit down with or not.
Exactly.
You do not just have to show up because they asked.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't have to.
It's
like the way you talk to me on phone, I don't think.
Yes.
They will tell you you need to carry your own bread. Okay,
but you see, it just means it can only come if you really have a value system.
Okay.
It can only come if you've really taken time.
How do I put in place this value system? Considering probably I'm starting to do this now. I'm sitting at home, I'm listening, I'm watching Judy on TV, and I realize, easy value system ni vitu gani?
Easy value system ni vitu gani? There's a way that you can interrogate yourself even before you even go to ask anyone else.
Yes.
There's a way you can sit with yourself, Mikali, and ask yourself, first and foremost, where did I come from? How does the setting where I came from, how did it impact my life? Then now you think, this is what I saw with my parents. And this is what I liked about them.
Oh, it goes way back.
It goes way back because let me tell you, your belief system, even about relationships, about the next relationship, about the way you will interrogate life, started by the way you began to see the environment around you. Some of it may have been right, some of it may be wrong, but it's important for you to have that conversation with yourself so that you know, this I want to carry with me, or this I probably don't want to carry with me. This I can correct. And that gives all of us a sense of hope, that it doesn't mean that because you came from an abused marriage, therefore you'll go into an abused marriage. No. If you can sit down and have a conversation with yourself and then begin to interrogate those things, it's an opportunity for you to correct what happened to you in the past and then move with the positives and begin to write a new script for your life.
So if you don't do these things, you're sort of like mostly setting yourself up for hurt.
Yes. And because as a society, we don't have those conversations, we don't talk about it enough, it becomes a cycle, a pattern that goes on and on and on and on. And all of us are falling into that victim mentality. That I guess that's the conversation we come to change. That's why every time I come here, I'm excited about it. Because even the feedback that comes from
the show,
it's just amazing. And for me, I'm like, you know what, let's go back, let's keep doing this, let's keep saying it, Mikali, don't get tired, it's a calling.
It is a calling. The guest that was just here before you, Doreen, is an author.
Yes.
And the 2 books that she has authored are stories about herself. And she mentioned something that's interesting and is tied in this conversation. She mentioned that she went to boarding school in class 2.
Yes.
So she wasn't raised by her mom or her dad.
Yes.
And mostly the matrons, and you can't go to them all the time.
Yes.
So she was in a boarding school, primary yote, from class 2.
Yes.
And then high school, she got into a mixed school. Ametoka Ushago, amekuja Nairobi. She was in primary school in Busia. Then she came to Nairobi Aga Khan. It's a mixed school. They're boys. They're saying things to me. My body is changing. I don't understand anything that is happening to me. And the chance she got to get into a relationship and leave home, she did. And she was in for 4 years in a very toxic relationship that she actually ends up writing a book about it. But when she looks back, she's like, I had nobody to talk to.
Exactly.
I did not know what love looked like. So whatever this was, for me, it felt like love.
Yeah.
But looking back, she's just like, I think love should be better than that. So it goes way back.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back.
And you know, that's the gap that as the media, you understand, you see the responsibility that's out there.
Yeah.
Because there are very many Doreens out there who don't know better. But you're Auntie Mwikali right here.
I know, and
I'm Auntie Judy.
Yeah.
Talking to these people and saying, you know what, there's still hope. It doesn't mean that because you went through, it's a traumatic situation to be separated from your parents. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And many people who have gone through boarding schools when they were much younger, when they come out, it's actually, they don't have a very beautiful story to narrate. But it doesn't mean that they cannot then learn from whatever it is that they went through and say, you know what, I went through this, but I can heal. Because there's a feeling of rejection that comes with it. And because of the feeling of rejection, that's why now they tend to try to cover the gaps of the void that they feel in their lives with probably the opposite sex, and not having experienced fatherly love in the way that she would have experienced it. She should have experienced it.
Yeah.
Then it makes her want to fill the gap, but in all the wrong ways, because she doesn't know better.
That's so true. I wish you were here for that conversation. So for her, she went through healing by just writing the book.
Yes.
And she was just like, I read this book, her own words. And she kept crying until one day the tears were no longer there. And she felt like, now I'm done. Now I am done.
Yes.
So people deal with different things differently. And sometimes we walk into relationships having not had that conversation with ourselves. So we don't know what to expect, what to anticipate, what I need from this other person, and what I am bringing to the table as well.
And it's an important, it's first, like someone now think about a Doreen situation. First, she just needed first to evaluate her own situation.
Yes.
And then having evaluated her own situation, begin to think what is important to me. And let me tell you, in as much as she went through that traumatic experience, there was a script, a canvas that God deposited in her. How would she know that canvas? For example, she would watch TV and see Mwikali and think, I like Mwikali. Then if she's careful to interrogate what is it that I like about Mwikali, she can begin to see this is the thread that leads me to Mwikali.
Okay.
That's how sometimes, those are some of the techniques that we use as coaches to help you, guide you to what you could have missed in your childhood. You understand?
Yes,
that's how you begin to look at your core values. It is deep calling unto deep.
Okay.
As you go through life, you will encounter men, you will encounter women that then you will begin to admire, that will become a source of inspiration to you. Some of them you will never interact with, but maybe you're seeing them on TV. But then they are beginning to speak into a value system that is embedded deep inside of you that you don't even know.
Okay. Let's talk about us getting into this relationship and, having made probably the right decisions at the beginning. How then do I enrich this situation that I'm in, this relationship that I'm aware of, that I got in intentionally? We are on the same page, me and this other person. How then do I invest or enrich it as we go?
First and foremost, before you even get into trying to enrich it before you go, you need to understand that all these people, everyone that you encounter in life, and that's the thing that we miss out as a society or as people. That's a conversation that we miss out on. Okay. Just to be able to understand that, Mwikali, you are a stranger when I came here in January. As we move along, you have moved into an acquaintance to the place that when you see me, you say, hey, Judy, thank you that you have come. Yes. Why? Because the level of our relationship is moving.
Yes.
But then, because many people don't interrogate the way a relationship is supposed to move, guess what? You meet a stranger and you begin to confide in them. And because love was not modeled to you the right way, you begin to pour yourself out. Isn't that also what is happening on social media? Where people are just busy on your inboxes. Hi, 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 hi. And you think Cupid has hit home. Are you seeing?
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
The 5,000 people that Mark Zuckerberg has given you as a limit on Facebook, they are not your friends. No. They are strangers. You must see it that way, especially as the young generation.
You have many boyfriends. There's a lady who came on the show once and said that kuna wale ameka general na kuna wale kwa DMs na kuna wale primary. So just depending uko side gani anakutreat with different.
Yes, na hata ye mwenyewe when she has these 5 DMs and sijui general and what, she doesn't even have a value system by which now she is checking now to move you from one level to another.
Yeah.
Do you know we have reduced relationships to tall, dark, handsome, financially stable, all 36, 24, 36. Are you getting it? It's not about value systems. Just laugh, Kali.
What?
So, that lady of primary and general, she probably just looked at their profile. What do you do for a living?
Yes.
Where do you live?
I'll tell you who it is. You will definitely, I agree.
I get